morning. أهلا وسهلا أخوة ويلما. Hello, Abuna Ken. How are you? أهلا وسهلا فيك. My name is not Kur, my name is Jongkor. I'll take it, it's okay. أهلا وسهلا فيك. Hello, brother Sabata. Good morning, followers of concerned citizen of South Sudan. We are on. It is October 4th, 2018. Today, we have an interview with General Thomas Cirillo of National Salvation Front. He will be joining us here momentarily. But first, I want to welcome you. It is 9 a.m. where I'm sitting right now and 7 p.m. in Juba local time, 2 a.m. in Sydney, and it's noon in New York. Welcome you one more time to our program. Our program is for all South Sudanese concerned, who are concerned about their country, like myself, like you, like others who are watching from far, far, far distant. So, as I said, we do not have a topic, but I have my question for General Thomas Cirillo, who is going to join us here momentarily to conduct this interview. But first and most, I wanted to remind you the rules of engagement as usual. You know the rules of engagement as usual. As I said, no discrimination on this forum. Is your forum. We can agree to disagree. No question about that. You can write your comment. You can disagree with me. You can disagree with General Thomas. You can disagree with anyone that as well. But the only thing that I don't tolerate, though, is when you go far beyond and insult the individual, whether it's myself or my guest or our viewers. That is not acceptable, and you know that. I can be watching. I've been doing this now nearly 2 years. It was kind of a little bit difficult, to keep up, looking down on the comment and looking at my guests. But you know what? I used to it. Now it's more. So I bet I'll be watching all the comment that you put there. And if I see something which is not, moral, is not accepted, I will act accordingly. I'll give you a warning if you are not, cooperative. And then this forum is not for insult. I will ask you to leave, or I can go ahead and remove you because I have that ability. That's the good thing about the technology that gives us ability to conduct ourselves and do the right manner. So one more time, I welcome you, and please, it's going to be fruitful. Our country in a state of chaos. That's why we have to do this. That's why we have to engage with political, politicians and those who are in political arena. So welcome you one more time. Let me go ahead and play some music as we talk and we, interact together. So we will expect him. I know that, we are doing this today. This is beyond our schedule. We always do a live show every Friday around 3 p.m. New York time, here 11 Pacific time where I'm standing or where I'm sitting. But because there's an exception, the schedule of General Thomas Cirillo was so tight, and that's why we were not able to do it on a normal time that we used to conduct our interviews or our shows. That's why we put it for today. So we are going to be doing it today, Thursday, the 4th of October in 2018. And I want to remind you as well, and you can see me now, I'm wearing a pink tie. It didn't come just like that. I did not wear that tie. This month, actually, of October, it is month of awareness of breast cancer. We love our women, we love our sisters, we love our mothers, and we must care. That's why I'm wearing this pink tie for the month of October for breast cancer awareness. So I want you to notice that. So let me go ahead and play some music here while we are waiting for our guest to appear right here. So. I know it look white, but it's pink actually. It is pink tie for breast cancer. So. Thank you so much. Of course, yeah. Like I said, we care. We care about our women, our mothers, our sisters, our daughters. And cancer is not a good thing, you know. I kind of have a little bit cold today though, so to let you know that. But I will overcome that, inshallah. Usually the way I like to do it, I always, love to have our guests first, and then after that I can invite people, because I've seen now people are sending in their requests, they wanted to, make comment, but I wanted to advise them to wait until we have our guests, and then after that you can request though, it would be really amazed to do that, so, Again, I welcome you all, wherever you are, to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan live show here today. Here, we are having an interview with General Thomas Cirillo of National Salvation Front. He will join us momentarily. I want you to be patient. And I wanted to remind you one more time for the rules of engagement. We are not allowed to insult anyone. You can disagree with me. You can disagree with General Thomas. You can disagree with anyone. My viewers, no problem. We agree to disagree, but we will not tolerate anyone to go beyond that and insult individuals, whether myself, whether my guests, or whether my viewers. That's not acceptable in our forum, because this forum is actually to bring people together so we can talk about the issue pertaining our country. We are not here at all to insult. We are not here, to make bad judgment. We can disagree. Yes, you can write your comment. Totally, I understand that. But do not go and insult any individuals. That will not accept it, and I have control of that, because if I see you are odd, you are out of control, and then I will deal with you. It is not a threat. We need to be civil, we need to be mature, we need to be professional. That's what's required to do this kind of show. So please be patient, and I do see here my guest. It looks like my guest is already here. I'm gonna go ahead and send him a request if he's available. But if he's still trying to fix some stuff, no problem. But meanwhile, I'm gonna go ahead and try that and see if it will respond to that, and then that will be so great. Okay. Let me go ahead and do this. So at this moment, I would like to invite General Thomas Cirillo of National Salvation to send me a request so I can bring you over and we can start our discussion here momentarily. Go ahead, General, and clear and hit that green button. I think it should bring you, it should send in a request to me, and then I will go ahead, and bring you live. Again, أنا برحب بكل من انضم لنا للبرنامج بتاعنا الأسبوعي concerned citizen of South Sudan. We are doing it today, in this particular day, Thursday, the 4th of October 2018, because of the tight schedule that General Thomas Cirillo has. So, just be patient, and we are going to start this. Go ahead and send that request in, General Thomas. And Teresa, if you are available, you can help with that tech issue here. So we can go ahead and bring in General Thomas Cirillo, and then we can start our interview. Of course, absolutely. You're gonna hear from General Thomas Cirillo here momentarily. I know it's kind of a little bit early for you today, but as I said, because of that tight schedule, we are fitting this on this Thursday, so instead of Friday. I'm going to bring you in just, 2 minutes, 3 minutes while we are waiting for General Thomas Cirillo here to send in a request. And see, and what do you expect? I want to just ask you a really quick question here today.
Jongkor.
I know, Sabata, this is unusual. It's kind of a little bit early for you and early for others. But while we are waiting for General Thomas Cirillo, what are you expecting, from General Thomas Cirillo today, in this critical, discussion?
Well, we'll be expecting so much from General Thomas, the chairman of SOA, and also the leader of the National Salvation Front.
Okay.
General Thomas will pretty much be clarifying to the people about the nature of the peace deal and how it will not be good for advancing the common interest of the people of South Sudan. He will be very detailed, and he will be also prepared to share and answer people's concerns and questions. Yes.
Okay, I think that's fair enough, because we want to know. But I'm sorry to interrupt you though, because it seems like it's still dark out there. But we are already up, and I'm waiting for General Thomas Cirillo here to show up so we can go ahead and bring him on the scene. So Sabata, I'm gonna let you go, and please stick around there, because your time will come after we conduct that interview. And now I'm gonna go ahead and see here if the General Thomas Cirillo is arrived, and then we'll go ahead and start our interview. So thank you for coming on and just
Thank you very
much. So let me go ahead and check here and see if he requested. I don't see that. So we are still waiting. So this is about good time. It's 12:15 now, New York time. This is the good time that we should start this. So like I said, Teresa, if you are around there, just go ahead and help us with some tech, if there is a technical issue there, and go ahead and help with that, so we can get General Thomas Cirillo right away. Okay. Yeah, I see him there, but I want him to hit the green button, because as you know, I'm not going to be able to call from here in. Just hit the green button, General Thomas Cirillo, and then it should work. Yeah, we have so many people already, waiting here. This is good. And hopefully the network will cooperate today in this very, very, very important. I'm calling you right now, General Thomas Cirillo. Go ahead and answer that. And that will bring you actually live if you answer that button. Go ahead and hit OK. All right. And hopefully the network will cooperate today. Very, very, very important. I'm calling you right now, General Thomas Cirillo. Go ahead and answer that. And that will bring you actually live if you answer that.
Put this one off so that I can.
Go ahead and hit.
And I'm taking it like this.
All right. Hello, good morning and good to see you, General Thomas Cirillo. I'm calling you right now, General Thomas Cirillo. Go ahead and answer that. And that will bring you actually live if you answer that. Go ahead and hit. So it looked like it's echoing. At this moment, I would like to invite General Thomas Cirillo here to our live show, and I would love to tell whoever around you, General Thomas Cirillo, to turn off the other device so we don't have to have that echoing when we are doing this interview.
Sorry, Jongkor.
Yeah, someone who is, beside you that I want him to turn off this device, just turn the voice down so we don't have to have that echoing.
Yeah, it's okay now, I think.
Okay, now, but it looked like your picture froze. Again, one more time, I welcome you to our live show here, Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. Thank you so much, for accepting our invitation and coming here to speak live to the people of South Sudan. Hello. Do you hear me, General Thomas Cirillo?
Yes, hello, Jongkor.
Yeah, you hear me, right?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. Now,
go ahead.
Now, General Thomas Cirillo, like I said, I welcome you to our live show here to speak to the people of South Sudan. I just want to give you an opportunity here to introduce yourself to our viewers and to the people of South Sudan as well before we go to a session of questions.
Jongkor, you're cutting. You're cutting.
Wow.
You're cutting.
So, okay, how about we
your voice is cutting.
Okay, let me go ahead and call you back again. Maybe it can work. Let me do this. Let me try it one more time. And go ahead and send me another request here. So it should be refreshed now. Send me another request. Okay, this one should be okay. I'm calling you right now. Go ahead and accept. Go ahead and accept that. It's dialing or it's adding up. So keep adding up. Go ahead and answer that. General Thomas Cirillo. Sometimes network it can be tricky. Okay. Now, go ahead and send me a request. Go ahead and hit the green button. At least it should bring you back here. I really apologize, to all of you. Sometimes, the network is not in our hand. It looked like it's giving him a hard time there from his end. Yeah. I think we'll be okay. So, go ahead and refresh it and just give me a call here and then we move forward. Okay, now adding up. Yes, it looked like it's working now. I apologize, General Thomas Cirillo. That's the network. It's not in our head. It's not in your head. Thing happened. But I'm glad you are here. Now, I want you just to introduce yourself to our audience. I know a lot of people knows you, but just a few words from you before we start our interview session here.
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother Jongkor, for this opportunity to allow us talking to our people of South Sudan. I'm very happy at this moment to be talking to our people. And I think this is going to be a good opportunity for them also to know the current affairs of our country. So I'm happy, I'm pleased to be here. Thank you.
Thank you one more time for coming, for accepting and being here and speaking to the people. You know, it's not just only people to wait for a radio interview or a television interview, but here on the social media, here where we have the majority of South Sudanese interacting together actually. So the idea that you're accepting and coming here to speak to the people is really, really, really being appreciated from our people. Now, General Thomas Cirillo, as someone who sees this peace deal, it's not going to take us anywhere. First of all, I want you to tell our viewers, the people of South Sudan, why you refuse to sign this deal and what are obstacles that you see are going to face the deal that's signed between the government and some other oppositions.
You are still cutting, Jongkor.
Oh, my
Don't
voice
know what's
still cutting
happening
up?
on your side.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can repeat myself. I can repeat it again if the question was not, you know. So what I'm saying here is someone.
Just a minute.
No problem. You get this thing, it will be okay. I apologize. Just give us a moment. Dear brothers and sisters, we'll square this out and then we'll be able, you know, to catch up. Is it okay right now? Hello? Thank you. Do you hear me, General Thomas? It looked like there are difficulties with the network there, which is really, really giving us a little bit of. Okay. More time. So. So we give him just a little bit of time so they can refresh that phone, and then we'll be okay right here. Go ahead and send me a request if you are able to do that, and then we move forward here. Okay.
Sorry, Jongkor.
No problem. Malish, General Thomas. And actually, I would like you sometimes when you give an answer, you can mix it Arabic and English because so everybody can be able, to. It's up to you if you chose. If you want to do it all in English, that's up to you too. But I prefer if you mix it, it would be much better. So my question was, as someone who did not sign this peace agreement, okay, what are obstacles that you're seeing are going to face the implementation of this peace?
Yeah, thank you, my brother Jongkor, and to our listeners. Yes, there are going to be a lot of obstacles in the implementation of this peace agreement. Number one, it is clear to everybody that this peace agreement did not address the root causes of the conflict in South Sudan. This alone is an obstacle. Since, in every situation, when there is a problem, it is the root causes of that problem need to be resolved, so that it can bring about peace and anything that people really want. But we cannot sign an agreement and leave the root causes of the problem as if we are burying our heads under the sun, you see. And this is exactly what happened in this peace agreement. So all those issues, which is paramount to bring us sustainable peace in South Sudan, were not resolved. And therefore, this alone is an obstacle. Leave alone that the people of South Sudan are not convinced that this peace agreement is going to bring them a sustainable peace and durable peace in the country. And that means, you see, this conflict will continue on and on. This is what people are so scared of it. And even now, just imagine the people are not, nobody is celebrating this peace agreement because the people believe that it is not a peace agreement. So there's going to be a lot of obstacles, leave alone that the international community are not, supporting the peace agreement. Even they are not going to, to commit their resources to support this peace agreement, whatever the case may be, to be implemented in whatever shape. And this alone, without resources, you cannot implement any type of peace. Even if this bad peace agreement going to be implemented without any resources, also it's not going to achieve anything. And the important part of this is the will. There's no will to implement any peace agreement in this country because it is not convincing anybody that it is a peace that's going to bring us a dignified peace that everybody is going to enjoy.
Okay, thank you. You talk about the root cause, that the root cause had not been addressed. Can you walk us through, because some people may not be familiar, with the root cause of the problem. I want you to walk us through the root cause. What are the root cause?
Yeah, you're right. For us as SOA, even before, part of us went and signed this agreement, and for those who are outside, basically we said, number one, that in the interim, the two leaders, Salva Kiir and Riek Machar, should not be in the interim period. And if they want to continue maybe in the political scene of South Sudanese, then they can go for elections after the interim period. So basically we are saying, the two leaders should not be there. Number two, we said, the situation in South Sudan requires us to have a federal system of governance, because also even in this agreement, even in this bad agreement, in the preamble, it's put there that federalism is demanded by the people of South Sudan. You see, and since it is demanded, it's a demand of the people of South Sudan. We thought it should be really one of the provisions in this agreement, and it has to be implemented during the peace agreement, the interim period. This is two. Number three, we are saying we need a lean government because now at the moment there is no resources in South Sudan, and therefore we need a lean government so that we reserve whatever resources that South Sudan is going to get for us to render, essential services to our people who are now suffering in different places, and also to help us bring our people back home. As you know, almost more than half our population is out of South Sudan. We want to bring them home. To bring them home, this one needs a lot of resources to resettle them, and so forth and so forth. The third one, you are saying in the presidency this time around, for us to be sure that in the interim period, nobody is going to to monopolize, is going to not to go and use the power of the people for their interests, be that individual, be that group interests. We need this power in the presidency, need to be neutralized. This is why we came with a model of having, a collegial kind of presidency, a council, where the power and decision making is to be by consensus. This is what we said in the presidency, so that we are sure, so that also we build confidence between the people and their government that whatever that is going to be decided, going to be decided, to really to save them and to do whatever good for them. We talk about the 32 states. We know very well that the degree that came out from the government of South Sudan, degree in the 32 states, that caused a lot of problems in South Sudan because it has, in fact, annexed
community lands to other communities. This has caused a lot of problems, and even as we talk now, our communities are fighting themselves, leave alone, the movement that are now against the government, but even communities are fighting themselves. You have this kind of wars going on in South Sudan, and for us to stop this, we are saying we need to revert back to the 10 states, because 10 states was there in our interim constitution, number one. Number two, even in the agreement of access agreement, it was also there. It was assured that this 10 states going to continue. And IGAD countries also endorsed these 10 states. So there was no reason for anybody, you see, in South Sudan to say, let us continue with these 32 states, which is causing a lot of problems in South Sudan. And our thought is that after we go back, we revert back to these 10 states. And after the interim period, when we go for democratic elections and we have the government of the people, now let the people now decide how many states they want for South Sudan. And the other issue is also about the parliament. We say that parliament is very bloated, and the government came with this big number of the members of the parliament. I don't know where they're going to get these resources for themselves, unless we are saying that all the resources of South Sudanese who are now suffering, who are now dying with diseases and other things, the resources are going to be distributed to these officials. We think that the people are the priority, and this bloated parliament is not going to work, leave alone that it's now being controlled by Salva Kiir government. Most of the members, you know that in these 550 members, the government have 333 members. That means that the one controlling the parliament. So whatever reforms that the South Sudanese will want to affect in this interim period is not going to happen, because Salva Kiir is going to continue, you see, ruling the country using this parliament that he's controlling. The other issue about the accountability, justice and accountability. We know as South Sudanese, what happened in South Sudan. You have committed a lot of crimes against the people of South Sudan, and these crimes cannot be just left like that. So we are saying that you have to account those people who committed this crime must be accounted for, and therefore we need the parliament that can really, make justice and accountability to be effective in South Sudan. So you wonder, how can you allow the people who commit the same crimes, to take themselves to the court? It's not going to happen like that. So we want a fair parliament that can be really side, decision of the people of South Sudan, and therefore justice and accountability is not going to happen under this parliament. Leave alone the looting of the resources, the corruption that took place also in the country. This parliament is not going to do anything for us. So these are some of the crucial issues that we see that is not going to resolve anything, though the security arrangement was signed. And in that security arrangement, so again, there is a lot of details that are needed. And I don't think that under this governance, which is signed, governance system which is signed, but this agreement is going to make that security arrangement going to work, because the government, Salva Kiir, started talking in Juba, interpreting these security arrangements in his own way. And therefore, it's going to cause a lot of conflict, because in that security arrangements, what we signed there, we are saying, all of us agree that we don't have a national security sector in South Sudan. What is there is, let me say, tribal kind of militia. And of course, South Sudan, since its inception, we never had a national security sector. So we accepted this time around, that let us have a security sector which is national in character. And therefore, when we are going to form this, we need to control all these forces of ours, and then contribute equal forces between the opposition and the government. We screen them, we put them together and mix them from all of us. And then from there, we orient them and train them, and we deploy them all over South Sudan to take care of the security of the people of South Sudan. That was what we are saying in this agreement. But the way now Salva Kiir in Juba is talking, it's going to cause a lot of problems. Even those brothers of ours who signed this agreement are not going to accept this, unless they just, accept it for whatever reasons that they may want there. So these are important reasons that made us not to sign this agreement, and also all these reasons become an obstacle for any agreement that's going to be implemented in South Sudan.
Yeah, thank you, General Thomas Cirillo. It appears that you gave me a broad answer in that regard. The reason that you did not sign for this deal, the Khartoum peace agreement, revitalization. But at the same time, I'm going to, still on this area. So because now you're giving me answer of why you did not sign. But also we want to know the root cause. You talk about the justice, which is good because justice was not addressed there. Was it only justice, or there is other needs, South Sudanese across the board, the clean water, the infrastructure, and all these things? Don't you think those are crucial, the root cause of the problem in South Sudan itself?
Of course, the whole thing is about governance system. If you don't have correct governance system, that is of the people and serve the people, of course, you not think about putting in infrastructure in place in the country. This is why you are saying the governance protocol is supposed to cover all these issues. These are issues, under the governance protocol. You talk about services, you talk about the infrastructure, you talk about security and other things. These are all governance issues. So this is why we are saying we want correct system of governance in South Sudan that can address the need of our people.
Okay, thank you, General Thomas. Now, moving on with my other question here. When it comes to IGAD, is IGAD and Khartoum in particular ignoring the social tension among South Sudanese communities, which came as a result of this confusing conflict?
I think in fact, in a real situation, it is the South Sudanese that's supposed to recognize their own problems. You see, when you have problems at home, you see, you cannot rely on other people outside your country, to come and really analyze your problems and tell you, you have this and that. We as South Sudanese, we know what is happening, the opposition and the government itself. And if we are to be given enough opportunity to be dialoguing with ourselves, we are going to figure all these issues, though the opposition clearly pointed out some of these problems, some of these issues that brought about tension in South Sudan and brought about this war. And of course, it is not a secret that this war is started as a result of the SPLM, leading party in the country that started to have problems of governing the country and problems, in fact, of leadership. You see, they started wrangling, on the leadership issue, and that brought about this war. You see, leave alone other issues, like this, the problem of the states, 32 states, and others that brought this tension among our communities, and other issues. You see, and of course, other issues that brought tension among the people of South Sudan. It is about this injustice which is going on in South Sudan. You see, so it is not really IGAD and the mediators that's supposed to figure out, what are the issues that brought about the tension, among us as South Sudanese. We South Sudanese, we know what is happening in our country.
Of course. So the reason I brought that question actually, because you have seen that there is a cooperation agreement was signed in 2012 between Juba and Khartoum. And then all of a sudden now, even though before finalizing the revitalization, we saw that Khartoum has injected itself, and there is a proposal that they are already taking troops to northern part of South Sudan, and Uganda is coming. So what do you see is they are doing here, these two countries, when it comes to state of affairs of South Sudan, Khartoum and Kampala, particularly?
Yeah, you're right. I think for us as opposition, National Salvation Front, we thought that any mediation or any mediator coming to support and assist the people of South Sudan to resolve their own problem, they're supposed to come and assist us to resolve the problem in South Sudan and to bring peace to South Sudan, but not to focus on their own interests in South Sudan. This is going to cause us a lot of problems because these issues are different. Yes, all of us, we have this kind of interests, among ourselves as nations. But again, when you are coming to resolve the problem with somebody, you cannot bring and inject your own problem there, or let me say, issues of your interest in this kind of situation. This will cause us a lot of problems because people are now confused between now, the people who are mediating our peace, focusing on their interests in South Sudan, while we, the South Sudanese, we are crying, we are saying, we need somebody to come and mediate us, to mediate our peace, mediate us to resolve our problems so that we have proper peace. The issue of interest of these countries, I think if South Sudanese is started to have a really sustainable peace, whoever want, to benefit from South Sudan, in a very fair way, I think that they'll be welcome. But the way, while you are trying to resolve the problem in South Sudan, and so other countries want to inject, their own interests, is going to cause us a lot of problems. And this one is also going to be one of the big reasons, that is going to make this peace agreement, which is signed, which is for us, is not a good agreement for the South Sudanese, not going to be implemented. Even in the case of Salva Kiir, though maybe Salva Kiir is signing this kind of agreements, maybe for him to rescue himself and continue ruling South Sudan. But again, I'm sure within the ruling group of Salva Kiir, we have nationalists there with him who will also oppose Salva Kiir, that by allowing the resources of South Sudan to be taken in this kind of way, to be taken in a very unfair way, is not going to be good for all of us. So I'm sure even inside there, within the system of Salva Kiir, we are sure that many voices will come out and tell Salva Kiir, no, we should not go like this. Though they want to remain in power, but you cannot sell your own country out just because you want to remain there.
Correct. Thank you. So now, in the past, the government did not fulfill terms of compromise peace agreement, which I meant here 2015 agreement. They did not fulfill it. They did not implement it. Why this time around, IO think and other opposition that the government is going to implement this peace, especially the only grantors here at Sudan and Uganda. But the previous one, 2015, it has all international community supported it. Why do they think, in your opinion?
Thank you, my brother Jongkor. In fact, let me just put it in Arabic that لكل الأخوان اللي وقعوا على الاتفاقية في أديس أبابا، نحن مش عارفين أن الأسباب اللي خلتهم يوقعوا هذا الاتفاق، لأنه نحن من أديس أبابا كنا واقفين وقفة برجل واحد، وقلنا هذا النوع من الاتفاقية ما هيحل مشاكل الجنوب. أجين وقت وصلنا في الخرطوم وقفنا هذه الوقفة، ويمكن أنتوا شفتوا أنه الانتبه proposal was totally rejected. يعني هنا رفضنا البروبوزال بتاع الانتبه لأنه لقينا أنه ما بيحل مشاكل الجنوب وما بيخدم الشعب بتاع الجنوب. فالأخوان الوقعوا هذا الاتفاق وقالوا هم عاوزين يخلوا فرصة عشان سلفا كير ينفذ هذا الاتفاق. أنا هنا مش عارفين الأسباب اللي خلتهم يغيروا الموقف بتاعتهم، لأنه الاتفاقية واضح. الاتفاقية واضح، يمكن أسوأ من اتفاقية بتاعت 2015. دي أسوأ اتفاقية جاء للشعب بتاع الجنوب. 2015 كان أحسن شوية من ده، ولكن كونوا هم يتغيروا يقولوا هذا الاتفاق بقى كويس، وهم يعني يخلوا يدوا فرصة لسلفا كير عشان هم ينفذوا هذا الاتفاق. أنا هنا مش عارفين هذا السر، يعني السر بتاع أنه هم خلوا أي شيء في يد بتاع سلفا كير، وهم في الزمن ده يعني واثقين أنه سلفا كير هينفذ لهم الاتفاق وهيجيب الخير للجنوب. أنا هنا مش عارفين هذا السر. اللي بنعرف أنه هم كانوا واقفين وقفة برجل واحد مع كل الناس، وفي النهاية غيروا الموقف بتاعتهم، فده متروك لهم. أنا هنا في المعارضة في ناشونال سالفيشن فرونت وفي سوا بنفتكر أنه هذا الاتفاق ما بيخدم أي شيء، وسلفا كير هينفذوا الاتفاق ده بالطريقة اللي هو عاوزه.
Okay. Shukran.
شكرا.
Thank you. So now moving on, you have called, or other South Sudanese have called, for federalism as a form of governance in South Sudan. Now, sometimes in some part of the country, when some people, National Salvation is calling for federalism, there's voices there, they feel like, oh, this is a modern cockroach in a new term. How would you explain to an average Equatorian who think actually calling for federalism, this is a modern cockroach, and how do you explain to a Dinka guy or a Nuer guy, someone there, this is not a cockroach? How would you explain to them both?
Thank you very much. In fact, the issue of federalism that is presented by National Salvation Front and us in SAWA is not something that is invented by National Salvation Front. If you remember, even in this agreement, in this bed agreement, it is written there in the preamble that federalism is demanded by the people of South Sudan. You know, it's a popular demand. This is how they put it. It's a popular demand of the people of South Sudan. You know, for federalism. So it is not from us alone as National Salvation Front, because we are saying National Salvation Front is people movement, is people-centered revolution. And then what we are trying to make it to be implemented is what the wishes of the people of South Sudan. So if all of us agreed, even including the government, just imagine the government in this agreement, and all of us as opposition, we agreed that federalism is the popular demand. Imagine, popular, I repeat here, popular demand of the people of South Sudan. So you cannot talk about Kokora here again, because all of us as South Sudanese, the government and all of us in opposition, we agreed that this is popular demand of South Sudan. So again, why fearing, about this federalism, and people decided to compare it with Kokora and all this? No, we are in a modern era in South Sudan, and we need South Sudanese to move ahead. Whatever that is not good, you leave it behind, and you put what can really benefit the people of South Sudan. And now in this agreement, all of us, the government and the opposition, agreed that this is the popular demand of the people of the South Sudan. And therefore, National Salvation Front is going for it. The way, anytime, if the people of South Sudan say, no, they don't want federalism, they want another system of governance, also we'll adhere to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for answering that question. The reason I asked that question, General, because sometimes an average, like I said, an average Equatorian, actually, it will come to his mind, because giving the historical background, what happened in the 80s, and given the tension that has happened, at the past, years and years, grazing and all these issues that happening in the country, there is a question looming around people right down there. That's why we have this question. It is not personal. I don't mean, to distract anyone here. All right. So now there is another question too, General Thomas Cirillo here. People are thinking, actually, National Salvation is fighting for a separation, to have an independent state of Equatoria. Is that true?
Yes, in fact, throughout this time, since the inception of National Salvation Front, those people who are not friendly to National Salvation Front, who are enemies, let me say, of National Salvation Front, continue to make this propaganda. I saw a map of Equatoria is put outside there in the social media, and myself, and that we are fighting for the independence of Equatoria. No, we are a national movement. We are for the all South Sudan. And in our movement, we have all our South Sudanese, be that from Equatoria, Barghazal, and Upper Nile. And I remember even myself, the leader of National Salvation Front, I never struggled since my childhood. Let me say, since I was young, since I joined the revolution of the SPL until now, I did not fight for any local issues. We are fighting for South Sudanese. Most of the forces that I have been commanding, let me say, during the revolution, all of them were mixed. And I can say loudly that many of them even were from Dinka. You see. And all of us were fighting for South Sudan. We did not fight for Equatoria. We did not fight for a village. We did not fight for anything. We are conscious of that situation, and we think that South Sudan can be best when we're all united and together.
All right. Here you have it, viewers of concerned citizen of South Sudan. You got the answer right there. So now, I'm going to go deeper with NAS. How significant the fraction that happened within the NAS, particularly when we hear that Khal Butrus and others, they defected from your organization and they signed with the government. How significant this group within the NAS?
Yeah, it's correct that some of our colleagues decided to leave National Salvation Front. Let me just put it first of all here. They left us for their own reasons. But what is obvious? I think when some people like Juba, when they started to feel that National Salvation Front is firm beside the people of South Sudan, National Salvation Front is not going to sell out the people of South Sudan. National Salvation Front is not going to sacrifice, the future of the people of South Sudan, and these people started to feel that okay, the best is for us now to start to penetrate, the National Salvation Front and get weaker members among ourselves and group them and make them to sign this peace agreement. That was exactly what happened, especially when we are in Khartoum. Some other people, started to come in. And it started to cause us a lot of problems. And it started, of course, to recruit those weak elements among ourselves and told them, you see, you have to sign this peace agreement for their own reasons, of course. And of course, in the struggle, struggle is like a train, in every station, you get those who are tired, will get down. And those who are not convinced to continue, they will also get down. But since we are on the correct course of the people of South Sudan, you see, we'll continue to move. We'll continue to struggle until we achieve what our people want. Those individuals that left us, we wish them luck. If they believe that this peace agreement is going to really to make our people live, dignified life and with all rights, unified in that country, we wish them luck. Otherwise, we believe that the decision that they took is not in place because they're sacrificing interests of the people of South Sudan for their own interests and for their whatever kind of interests.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, coming to my next question here, General Thomas Cirillo. Many South Sudanese from various communities blame the political problems and violence on the Dinka tribe. Do you agree with conclusion? If not, do you believe South Sudan's problems are caused by the Dinka people?
You see, at this juncture, my brother Jongkor, we want to be clear. The problem in South Sudan is not really a tribalism per se, or even Dinka community. The crisis is the crisis of leadership. The crisis is the crisis of the governance system in South Sudan. And in fact, those who are in the leadership are using their own communities, to make them remain in power, to make them continue destroying the South Sudan, So the result of some of our communities supporting the people in power, it is these people who are in power are the one using these communities, in fact, you see, for them only to remain in power. But it is not the people themselves, you see. So the issue is the governance system. The issue is the leadership crisis that we had today in South Sudan. So should we start to have a very responsible, a very committed leadership in South Sudan that commit himself to the people of South Sudan, he or she is not going to use any community members to come and make him to continue in power. Because why using my community members, and expose them, to be hated, to be in danger. And what we are doing now, we are working very hard, making the people of South Sudan to understand that the issue is not Dinka, the issue is the leadership, the issue is the governance system, and all of us as South Sudanese, we need to come together. Even the Dinkas, Jongkor, very well. Where is our brothers and sisters of Dinka today? If the South Sudan, everything that they're now benefiting from it, why they're now in refugees? They're now, you get thousands and thousands of the Dinkas. They've run away from South Sudan. They're dying also like anybody in South Sudan. So where is this leadership? You see, the issue is not the tribe. The issue is not the Dinka. The issue is this wrong leadership in time, in history that South Sudanese had. It is unfortunate that to have somebody like him leading South Sudan, and he imposes the governance system that is destroying all of us and dividing us in South Sudan. No, it is not Dinka. It is the governance. It is the leadership crisis that we had in South Sudan.
Thank you very much, General Thomas Cirillo, for answering that question. Now, for the same program here, last week, I hosted the former General Secretary of the SPLM party, Pagana Mom. And Pagana Mom actually talked about the unity, how we need to rescue our country because our country is already slight to the hell. And he called for national dialogue. What's your intake on that? Unity, national dialogue.
I think if the government of Juba and the mediators were to allow us to sign a peace agreement that we believe can bring us together, I think would have even resolved these issues of unity through this agreement. But unfortunately, that we are denied, the good agreement that we think can really unite our people. We in the National Salvation Front, you see, our motto is that we want to restore the unity of South Sudan and that dignity. As you know, today our dignity is on the ground. We are totally put on the ground. The dignity we are not even respected worldwide. You know that very well. And the unity of the people of South Sudan, it is not that our tribes are now fragmented. Not even that. Even our tribe, within the tribes, we are now in clans. So all of us, I think, every South Sudanese who are really nationalists and who has South Sudan in their heart, all of us, I think, we need to work very hard to start bringing our people, sensitize our people to make them come together. And in fact, at this juncture, I'm appealing to the South Sudanese, wherever they are, from all our communities. You see, all of us need to come out, because even these leaders of ours who are now ruling and ruining South Sudan, our communities are not even benefiting from them. It is only their families members. You see, you go and see them. You see, so why following somebody who is just using me, to maintain him in power, get all these resources, and benefit his only family, and And myself outside here, I'm just, very proud that, I have my community member is a president, is a minister. While this guy is destroying you, he's doing a lot of things against you. So we need to discover this as South Sudanese, and appealing to all South Sudanese that let us discover ourselves wherever we are from all our communities. We come together and rescue the people of South Sudan, and we bring our unity together. This is why when I was moving here and talking to our communities in different states in the US, we are telling our community to start reaching out to themselves. They should not hate themselves. Juba is causing us problems in Juba, the government, and then they started hating themselves and dividing themselves outside here. We are appealing to them to start reaching themselves, the elders to come out and to start talking to each other and to discover that, the problem is not themselves, the people, but the problem is the people who are ruling us. So this is what we are trying to do, and I think there is a lot of people outside there. We should start to think of how do we really bring our people together and struggle even together until we rescue the people of South Sudan and the country itself.
Thank you, General Thomas Cirillo. So now, the last couple of days, we have seen alliances. I have seen part of NDM, Manuela Jawin, join the group of Sawa and Nas and those of Hakim Dario. So now, are we expecting more new alliances? I did not see that new alliances included Paul Malone there. Are we expecting any new alliances with the National Salvation or others at this moment?
National Salvation, South Sudan Opposition Alliance, now under my simple self, we are open to any opposition group that is genuine to oppose the system in Juba, which is an unjust system, to come and struggle together with us so that we rescue the people of South Sudan and the country. So we are open. We have our regulations. We have our charter. The charter and the regulations of South Sudan Opposition Alliance, it gives everybody a room to come in according to the criteria there.
So that means if SSUF or Paul Malone wanted to join, it would be able to join that new alliances? That's what you're saying, General?
Of course, if he's genuine to oppose Salva Kiir system, which is destroying South Sudan, and he himself, let me say, his movement, you see, can come and apply to South Sudan Opposition Alliance to join. The leadership of South Sudan Opposition Alliance will look to his application and see whether it is going according to the charter or not. If it's going according to the charter, of course, he's going to be with us.
Okay, thank you. Now, General Thomas Cirillo, as a political leader, who do you believe can be done to bring about change in South Sudan, whether this current state affairs or beyond revitalization peace agreement 2018? So what do you believe can be done here to change this affair, in the country?
You saw in the first place, we think that the system in Juba should be changed. We need a different governance system in Juba. We need a different leadership in South Sudan. And therefore, we are calling for all South Sudanese, number one, to refuse to be governed by this system. Let our people refuse and reject, this system to govern them. This is in the first place, and therefore we need to continue mobilizing the people of South Sudan wherever they are. We need to bridge this tribal kind of barrier among ourselves, because now you get our communities are even fearing themselves, for no reason. We want to bridge this gap. We want to bridge this kind of barriers, and to discover that these people are the one now smashing all of us. Not because Salva Kiir as a Dinka is in power and therefore Dinkas are benefiting from him. No, we need to know that even the Dinkas are suffering. You see, the Dinkas are dying like anybody of us. And even now, those, especially after Malone came out, many Dinka communities are being killed also in Juba, you see, and in other places in South Sudan. So we need to come together. We need to mobilize, you see, and we, as people of South Sudan, as masses of South Sudan, we need to refuse to be governed by this system, which is unjust to all of us. This is one. Number two, we are calling for, whoever wish, all members of South Sudanese opposition groups and others to come and join us here. And then we continue to struggle until we really realize, the dreams of the people of South Sudan after all these struggles. You remember that the South Sudanese, they struggle more than half a century, you see, and after all this struggle, we cannot now allow South Sudan to be smashed by ourselves. So we are mobilizing politically, diplomatically, that the South Sudanese must really come together, and we are telling the world that the system in Juba is not people's system. It's the system which is working for themselves, for their own interest, and therefore that system is not suit, to govern the people of South Sudan. So we are also talking to international community to stand by the people of South Sudan, not by the system that is murdering them and killing them and destroying them.
Thank you. General Thomas Cirillo, I think we came to conclusion, but before we conclude, I want to yield the floor to you, your last word, to the youth, to the women, to the people of South Sudan as a whole. What do you want them at this critical time to do?
Yeah, at this critical time, number one, I'm appealing and trying to inform the people of South Sudan that this agreement which is signed is not a just peace agreement. This agreement is not agreement for the people of South Sudan. This agreement is not going to resolve the problems among ourselves. And therefore, war will continue and will really ruin the people of South Sudan. There is a lot of frustration now in South Sudan. So we are telling the people of South Sudan, let them not be deceived by this peace agreement, which is not really going to serve them. It is going to serve the people in power in Juba, and maybe other people who decided to go in as a result of this peace agreement. So the people of South Sudan should not accept this agreement. Our people in the refugees all over the world, they should not be deceived by this system to go to Juba. That peace agreement is there. There is no peace. So we don't want our people to go back again and run back again, which will cause us a lot of suffering, you see. So this is number one. Number two, we need to work together. We need to really, as South Sudanese, especially the youth and the women and other sectors of our society, we need to come together and to realize that this system is not going to take South Sudan far. And the peace agreement which is signed now is going to fail. And therefore, we need to put our heads together so that we create a situation where we can launch a new initiative that can help us reach something good to the people of South Sudan. At the same time, of course, we are appealing to the people, to the government of South Sudan, the President Kiir and his team, that it is best for them to accept what the people of South Sudan want at this time. Insisting continuing in power, they will destroy everything in South Sudan, and South Sudan will get really fragmented, and that will be the end of the country. So we are appealing to these colleagues. Salva Kiir himself has fought, when he was fighting from Anyanya 1 to this time, he did not fight for this type of governance in South Sudan. He did not fight to destroy the people that he fought for. So let him, in fact, and those colleagues with him, remember what they really, gave, as sacrifice for the people of South Sudan. And if they started to remember this, we did not fight for our communities. We did not fight for our personal interests. We said we are sacrificing, we are giving our lives for the people of South Sudan, for our country, to be there. So what happened for them now at this time to start forgetting the people of South Sudan and even killing and destroying them? And we want to say that this system become more cruel than any system that came to South Sudan, even cruel than all the government system that from Khartoum to South Sudan. So we are appealing to them at this time in history that let them review their stand and let them stand by the people of South Sudan, and all of us to agree, on something that is all for us, that's something that is all of us going to agree and accept, and then we go home and we start to rebuild our lives again. So thank you very much, Jongkor, for this great opportunity, and I want to assure the people of South Sudan, you are not going to surrender, you are not going to sacrifice them for this type of peace deal that's going to sell them out. No, we are going to stand by them to the end.
Okay. Thank you so much, General Thomas Cirillo Soka of National Salvation and the chairman of SAWA Alliances. Takunda Maan, if you concerned citizen of South Sudan, and thank you for coming here and answering some questions who are concerning our people. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, my brother. Thanks.
All right, there you have it, my dear brothers, concerned citizen of South Sudan. We conclude that interview with General Thomas Cirillo. Now it's your turn to come up, and add your perspective as well to our conversation. I know, sometimes we might cover everything, we might not, but this is the nature of human being, we're not going to be perfect 100%. So let me go ahead and see here who are those, who requested, so I can bring you in and we can interact together here as brothers and sisters. And like I said, we need to be mindful, we need to be respectful, we need to maintain, the level of professionalism. We need to be more mature, when we are dealing. We can disagree, but please do not insult brother and sisters, you know. So let me go ahead and see who are those. Actually, I'm interested in Atilio Abu Yasmin, if you are available, because I know that you're going to be leaving very soon. So please go ahead and send me your request. I see a lot here. This thing is full, actually. But go ahead and send me Atilio before I move forward here. You know, please. I hope your network is working fine, so we don't have to go the same problem that we had last time. Go ahead and send me that request, please. It looked like you are not in at all, you know, Atilio. I don't know what's the deal here. If you wanted to wait a little bit, that's fine. You know, I can bring you. Okay, I will go with Dorabun at this moment. Dorabun, I'm calling you.
Hello, Jongkor.
Dorabun, good to see you, brother. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm doing very good, and thanks for the opportunity. First of all, let me say it actually it was good to hear from General Thomas Cirillo.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I actually respect the general. He's a decorated general. He fought for the liberation of the country. Although we happen to have some fundamental disagreement with him on some of the issues. Mm-hmm. First of all, let me say that actually on this interview today, although that was his first time for South Sudanese to hear from him, but let me give him a fair shot that he has actually presented himself well. I was pleased that he was able to project himself as a national leader. And not like the way his base or his supporters want to portray him as a leader of Equatoria. You know, me personally, when Joseph Bokosoro actually ran for election and he was elected as independent for the governor of Western Equatoria, I was actually pleased with him. And I was able to actually feel that at least this is a kind of national leader that I can support. But unfortunately, he backtracked on that. And sometimes, you know, when you listen to your base so much and you know, and refuse not to be a man on your own, you end up losing. And now we have lost Joseph Pokosoro. He has followed the clip of national leaders. And now we have Thomas Cirillo coming into the stage. And my request to Equatorian is, please, if you guys want actually to build a national leaders, give your leaders an opportunity to pivotal to the center of South Sudanese so that they can be seen as the national leaders and not actually confined only to your base of Equatorial or whatever you are. That's first. Second, I actually like his stand on the peace. I actually support the peace. I welcome the peace for South Sudanese because we have suffered a lot. But my problem with this piece, and he hasn't actually dwelled a lot on it, but you actually covered it last week with the former Secretary General Fagan Amwam. The involvement of Uganda and Sudan into this piece is really problematic, particularly Sudan. This is a country we have fought so hard, and for them actually to come back in a creepy way to actually control our national destiny, that's actually, you know, to us, most of us South Sudanese, is really heartbreaking, you know. When we see Sudan controlling our oil, Sudan even sending their forces, you know, to our country, that means that they have actually outmaneuvered us to come back in and actually control us. That means we are actually losing the liberation that we fought so hard, and we have actually paid a heavy price for it. So I actually like his stand on the peace, you know. And then lastly, and this will be my last point, I actually want Thomas Cirillo to work very hard to build a national consensus. I don't believe in violence. I don't like all these rebellions, but I believe in political aspect of it, of uniting South Sudanese, work together with the government, and actually build a national consensus that can actually decide the destiny of our country. And with this peace unless even the government has a message, unless they are serious on the reform of the entire infrastructure, the entire structure of the government, security, then the international community support will not be there and we will be back to the square one. So it actually called upon him actually to put the national consensus ahead of his whatever he want to do, maybe to fight militarily, whatever he has to build a national consensus for South Sudanese, so that we can actually have a national agenda that we can actually reclaim our country back. And I want to yield the floor to some of your viewers who want to weigh in very quick. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dora Boone. That's really a very, very wonderful point. Yes, they should not think General Thomas Cirillo is just their son and it belongs to them. He's a South Sudanese general, as you put it, is a hero, he's fought for our liberation, you know. And sometimes, yes, things can be characterized in a wrong way. It can lead to a darkness. I really, really like your point. Thank you so much, my brother, for coming on. Let me go ahead and give other South Sudanese an opportunity here so they can get that perspective as well. And please stick around. Thank you, Dora Boone. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let me go ahead here and see who is next online here and bring them so I can hear from them. But that's a very, very good point. Very, very good point. Okay, let me see. So many people, so many names. Okay. Okay, Lulu John, I'm calling you. Go ahead and answer that so you can have your perspective heard as well. Hello, good to see you. Even though we are not seeing you, good to have you on the show. Do you hear me?
Hey, brother Jongkor, take me out. I'm sorry. I just want to enjoy a while.
And then why you request? That's really, it's so weird. Okay, let me go ahead and do this. So many names, so many people. Let me go ahead and do this here. Jama, just bear with me. You will have an opportunity as well. So I have a very long list here, so many people. Let me go ahead and do this here with this person. George Usman, I'm calling you right now. You can hear there's the new names here. You know, they never participate in our program, but that's fine. You know, this forum is for all South Sudanese. So George Usman, I'm calling you. Go ahead and answer that. Hello, George Usman.
ايوه كيف الاحوال يا جونكور؟
الحمد لله.
ايوه انا يعني كلام توماس قال يعني كلام وطني، بعدين يعني وكل الاشياء الناس بيعملوا اشاعات بيقول انه توماس is not توماس is for Equatoria only، وطبعا دي بروباغندا من السلفا كير وحاجات بشكل لانه جيم قال بانه موضوع انه دينجا ما موضوع انه سلفا كير عايز يطول في السلطه، عايز يقعد لمده حياته يعني حتى ما يموت هنا، وفي نفس الوقت الناس يتعبوا، الناس يقعد في مخيمات.
Can you put the camera back? ممكن تجور الكاميرا ورا شويه. ايوه كده. Go ahead.
Yeah. These are the situation. يعني المشكله انه اي كلام هو قال يعني حاجه يعني احنا we carry what he said، وانا بشوف انه في progress، لانه انا في حياتي يعني I live along the liberation time، يعني انا من صغير هنا along those time of fighting from Anyanya هنا I grew up at that time. فأهدفت الناس كان انه to liberate people من العرب هنا from the bad thing that the Arab are doing. يلا لزوم سنانو you tend to become worse than the Arab, which is extremely wrong. يعني حاجات الناس كير بيعمل become يعني he's injecting tribalism and he's creating Salva Kiir يعني I saw him when I was in WOW. أنا من توري tribes I saw him in WOW when I was in the school there. زمان ده كان دابد ودبرتين. He was a very quiet guy or حاجة بالشكل. لكن حاجات اللي هو بيعمل ده I don't know. People who are around him are also a subject of these all kind of problems. These are the situation يعني I wasn't expecting from him يعني زول المرة بحرب تانيانيا ومرة بهروبات اس بي ال الحرب كان هدف انه من الظلم اللي كان عرب فرضوا لنا they imposed on us. So that was the uprising of قام بثوره في 1500. انا من ضمن انا عندي جدي ذات كان من ضمن الناس اللي كان 25 ساويشيه اللي قام بابرايسنج. الاهداف كان انه احنا مظلومين. فهنا to me I see Thomas is the key player who can lead us to that kind of area, I mean destiny. لانه هو دائما بيتكلم اي كلام من اللي انه unity. لكن في ناس بيترجموه بيعمل حاجات على حسب مزاجهم. يقول انا زول من إيكواتوريا خلاص. The movement is belong to the Equatorial. The movement is belong to the people of the entire Southern Sudan. The majority of the people are the ones suffering now. They're the
South
ones
Sudan. Belong to South Sudan. I have an issue people saying Southern Sudan. Don't say South Sudan again, brother. Say South Sudan.
And I got South Sudan, yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Continue.
فهنا these are the يعني حاجة really انبسطت بكلام توماس and he was very national and that's what he have been preaching. And so to me I will advocate and request from the entire people who are misleading, who are giving misleading information about Thomas to watch this video and see who is he, because I know him personally. I was the neighbor of his older brother who was a general too. And أنا بعرفهم كله يعني they are people of people يعني they are not people of that وبعدين هم ما بقول الظلم يعني. احنا كله Southerner. Why we have to let someone just stay there and then start injecting tribalism as الناس يقرأ بعدين الناس يقول دينجا بتالين دي بتالين. We have to stop that, and those people have to come and watch this video. They have to listen to this video and go over and listen to what Thomas said, so that they will not go and mislead some others. I guess I don't have anything. أنا بشكرك. كان في حاجة عايز تسألني أنا I can just respond to you.
Thank you so much, brother George Osman. أنت كنت معنا في concerned citizen of South Sudan. يا رسالتك وصل, and please stick around. You can still interact with us here. Let me go ahead and get other South Sudanese who are waiting as well here to air their perspective. So let me go ahead here. يا جماعة كلكم بناديكم opportunity. كل زول بياخد فرصة. So no worry. Jongkor, I don't know what happened to you. Actually, it's your turn, but I don't see you there. If you are not, I will move forward. Let me go ahead. Jongkor, you can always still send in your request, no problem. Right there. Jongkor Gatamarana, calling you right now. I hope your network was cooperating. And by the way, I really thank you for waiting late night. I assume that it's around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. right now where you are.
Yes, mate. It's absolutely late over here. So it's about 1:23 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, but all in all, I thank you for giving me this platform to say something, a few words in regard to the statement made by Comrade NAS chairman. What I can say here, Brother Jongkor, you might have seen some of my comment down there.
I did some.
I was so amused, by the fact that we South Sudanese are confusing ourselves. I think that there has to be a genuine question that we need to ask ourselves as people of South Sudan, as to what we really need to do, for us to move forward from here. Brother Jongkor, if you look at how we have been in this civil war for more than 4 years now to 5 years, a lot of people have been opposing the fact that, as SPLM-IO was waging war against Juba regime.
Yes.
There has been a lot of outcry in the whole country that people should not go to war and people should sit down and negotiate in good faith. But SPLM-IO, on the other part, insisted that unless we fight this regime in Juba, this regime in Juba is not interested whatsoever in any settlement that is regarding peace. They're only interested in war and advocacy of war across the country. You would agree with me that throughout the 5 years of this civil war, it is only SPLM-IO that has been actually talking about war. And the question that we should be asking today, we as people of South Sudan, is that where were these individuals? I don't come here to sugarcoat things, Brother Jongkor. I'm a person that actually like digging things out. I would love to ask my comrade, where were they in the first place when this civil war broke out in December 2013? Where were they when SPLM-IO was waging war against Juba regime for 4 years? And where were they? Where were they?
I'm not trying to interrupt you here, but don't you think here? Okay. But don't you think here, General Thomas Cirillo actually contributed? He helped the SPLM-IO. Was that famous that he pivoted the way for him to escape to Congo? Don't you think they play a positive here favoring IO on that time?
Well, as NAS?
Not as NAS, but as individuals. Because you said, where were those individuals?
Let me be clear. I understand what is in the back of your mind, but
go ahead.
But let me tell you this. I appreciate one of the answers that Comrade Cirillo have given today. That people have been crying foul on NAS, singing that NAS is for Equatorian, and so is for Equatorians. When SPLM-IO was making their way from Juba all the way to Congo, yes, indeed, I believe what you are trying to allude to is the fact that the land in which SPLM-IO was passing at the time was Equatorian land, which is part of South Sudan. But let me say this. During those times, during those days, there was no NAS that paved the way for SPLM-IO. It was the sons and daughters of South Sudan, which happened to be from all of our tribes, including the Equatorians, that actually paved the way, not NAS. If there is anything that NAS have done to the SPLM-IO was to attack the basis where the SPLM-IO were inside Greater Equatoria. And this is evidential. It has been evidenced by the attacks that we have witnessed. Even there are videos now online that would show you that NAS was indeed not for the liberation of South Sudan. They had, according to me, I felt that NAS have got a hidden agenda. I still believe, Brother Jongkor, that NAS carry a hidden agenda. And unless
what is
it
that?
Is a matter of time.
What is that agenda you think?
the agenda is to come and destabilize SPLM-IO as a movement.
But what would be the benefit of destabilizing
And
somebody fighting for something?
That's why a person like myself, I'm so confused with where NAS is heading. If you have read my comment, I was asking constantly, what is the vision of this guy, Cirillo? On your interview, Brother Jongkor, from the start to the end, I have not heard any vision from NAS leader. I have not heard him telling us about his vision, about where he's heading as a leader and as a leader or chairperson of a movement. What are the core principles of that movement? Why is there NAS? And indeed, if NAS is for the liberation of South Sudan, in which SPLM-IO was actually calling for more than 4 years, why didn't NAS took up arms and work closely with SPLM-IO and march to Juba? From the day when Comrade Cirillo, left Juba up to now, have you heard him attacking any base of Juba regime? Have he attacked any base of Juba regime? Absolutely, the answer is no. Definite no. But he attacked bases at least on 2 occasions. At least on 2 occasions. That he attacked the bases of SPLM-IO at least on 2 occasions, if not 3 or 4. He himself admitted when he went to America. Watch one of his videos. I don't know if it was the first one, but there was a video I watched, and he was asked by the sons and daughters of Equatoria that are part of the SPLM-IO as to why NAS as a movement is so aggressive against the SPLM-IO. And he politely answered that NAS and SPLM-IO are not that different. But in reality, Brother Jongkor, let me not go back to the foul plays, to all the foul play that NAS have taken. But let me try to narrow down to what I want to say here. I have watched Comrade Cirillo, talk so many times, and tonight is one of them. My question to him and all those who are his supporters and the supporters of NAS as a movement is that, personally, let me say this, Brother Jongkor, there are so many doubters about the current peace, in which I can say, yes, let us continue to doubt the peace. But what is it that do we need to do from here? What do we have to do from here now, Brother Jongkor, to have peace back in South Sudan? Is it to take up arms and arm ourselves and kill ourselves, or to use this window of opportunity to create at least a conducive environment for dialogue and change?
Thank you.
Because
it looks like, I have a lot of people, Chankwat.
Yeah.
So please, 50 seconds, go ahead and wrap it up, because I have a lot of people today,
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me just say this, Brother Jongkor. I'm not against NAS, but let the supporters of NAS and the leadership of NAS come out very clear to the people of South Sudan about the agenda, about the way forward from here. What is the way forward from here tonight? Let's say tonight, Brother Jongkor. What are they going to do from today? Are they going to arm themselves and go to Juba and fight Salva Kiir, or they are just going to join the peace in which we are opposing now? This is a challenge that I want to forward to them. Let them come out clearly to all of us. What is it that they want? Do they want us to continue fighting or not? Because I am also willing to do as they please. But for me, I believe if this window of opportunity avails itself, let us use it. I understand that we oppose Uganda, we don't like Sudan, But if these two countries can create this conducive environment so that Salva Kiir and his movement and his government and Riek Machar and his movement and those of Cirillos and all the other groups can come together and negotiate, shouldn't we use this opportunity?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, no problem. So let me go ahead here and I know, yes, we can agree to disagree. You disagree already with some point and you agree with some point. So let me go ahead here and get other South Sudanese who want to express their opinion as well and what's going on and my, you know, interview with General Thomas Cirillo of National Salvation and Karen, chairman of SOA Alliances. So let me go ahead and see who are those. I hope NAS will, some of NAS are not requesting at the moment, but it's okay. We still have more time because I don't see them here. Maybe they want to wait a little bit and that's fine. So let me go ahead here and see those who have requested. And so, Akim, I know that you have been waiting for quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and bring you. Yeah, Jamal, I will bring everybody. Don't worry. Your turn is there. So.
Wow, thank you, Jongkor.
Yeah,
I don't believe.
Be brief.
I don't believe.
Be brief because we don't have a lot of time.
All right. I don't believe you're going to call me, man. I'm so surprised, but thank you so much.
It's okay. You are a South Sudanese. You have an opportunity too to speak.
Okay, thank you. You know, Jongkor, I just want to respond very quick. You know me, I don't talk too much. So just be patient with me. Jongkor, Thomas is very humble. Thomas speaks from his heart. Thomas is not like other politicians, so that can make the crowd happy. I want people to understand the guy is very humble. The guy speaks direct from his heart. The guy is not politician that who try to. The guy is not politician try to confuse you, the audience. So audience will say, yeah, this guy talk good. The guy talk from his heart. People have to respect that. Even though if people never happy with the way he talk, because politicians talk nicely, naive. And then they make the crowd feel like, yeah, this guy is good. But the guy talk from his heart. This movement is not for Equatoria. People who say hiding agenda, believe me, true by God. Even the people of Thomas from Thomas Klein doesn't like Thomas. Bari people doesn't like Thomas. Bari people is not supporting Thomas. Please, let's be honest to ourselves. You might hate him as a person, but let's be honest. Let's just say the guy is very humble. The guy is speaking from his heart. There's nothing called Equatorial movement.
Thank you.
There's nothing called Equatorial movement. It's up to you to believe him and join NAS. If you don't want to join him, but we cannot mix NAS with Equatoria from today forward. We cannot mix NAS with Equatoria. Let people understand that. Thomas by itself, yeah.
If you realize, Brother Dora Boone, when he came in, he said actually, General Thomas Cirillo is a national figure. He's it's a national hero. He fought for liberation. But there are some people within Equatoria or within NAS, they are trying to pull him like it belongs to them. It's not belong to the nation. And that's where, there is disagreement here, And that's the thing that we need to correct, in some extent. Because it's not for Equatorian only, it's for entire nation.
I agree with you. Thomas have a lot of work to do. Why have a lot of work to do? Because people label him as son of Equatoria. And some Equatoria, with their anger, they use Thomas' name to represent them. So we, as the people who support NAS, okay, we will work very hard to make sure Thomas to unite the entire country, and the behaviors of the members of the NAS, whoever join NAS, have to stop talking Thomas for Equatoria because I'm from Equatoria. This is not acceptable. So for the whole citizen of South Sudan, even the IO, no problem with the IO. The IO say NAS attack them. NAS say IO attack them. This is just something's gone. We pray so hard for the IO. Let the peace happen. Thomas never reject the peace. Tomorrow you can see Thomas in Juba if they meet the requirement of what Thomas needs to be done for the country. So let the IO go ahead to Juba, and Thomas is working hard not to shoot a bullet. Thomas will never kill any South Sudanese, but he will use his ideology, he will use his brain to bring the peace. He will go back to Juba.
Thank you.
So for the rest of the country, take Thomas like a son of South Sudan, not a son of Equatoria. But he will be proud he's Equatoria. Nothing wrong with that. He's of Equatoria, nothing wrong with that. Here, brother. Brother Jongkor, I don't want to talk too much. For the IO, go ahead with the peace agreement. We will pray hard. Nas will pray hard. Let the peace come through, not fake peace. But if it's fake peace, Thomas will do ideology. Thomas will work politically. Will never shoot a gun, but he will defend himself for self-defense.
Thank you. Thank you, Hakim. Thank you.
May God bless you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Let me go ahead and move here and bring other South Sudanese who are online. I know we have a lot of people today, so it's not easy. Yeah, Jamal, send in your requests, and I'll bring you. I saw your request, Mario. Okay, I saw your request. I'll bring you in. But give me 1 second here. Let me go ahead and bring this guy. And I know it's huge, so many people. You know? So I'm gonna bring you really, quick here, Charles. Go ahead and answer that. Hello, Charles Deng, how are you?
How are you, Jim?
Good to see you.
Quiz.
So what is your intake?
What's up, man? Well, first of all, it's good for him to come out to the media. He's joining the new leadership of the people now who are coming to the media. So for him, we can say, yes, thank you for that. And we also thank him to allow himself to come to the social media, because most of our leaders, they are avoiding social media. They are saying social media become a noisy, insulting. But in another way, if you're running something, you don't need to avoid social media. You need to come out, come and sell your ideas. Let be criticized. That's where you can fix yourself. We are in a modern world now. That's it. Well, it's good. This is the man, I know him personally. Since he joined the SPLM in 1992, so he have a credit for the liberation of the country. There's no denial for that. Now he's opened a new chapter. So the chapter he opened now, it will depend on him where he's going to turn him. Is it going to put him on the right path, or are you going to put him upside down? This is the question now. He's opening. He talk a lot, and what I see from his talking, he never sell his vision in your social media. I thought he's going to talk a lot about the vision, but I don't see vision in his speech. He just touching the peace, how sulfur to be removed, how to work with sulfur. And even though you never asked him, I thought you're going to ask about a vision, but he should come out and sell him that vision. So he never did that. There are things I can give him credit on, some of them. When it comes to the peace,
I asked him, what can you do as a leader? So
yeah, you asked him about international input. On that question, he said the international not supporting that peace.
No. That's the last question, Charles. I asked him.
No, not you. It's not you. About him. When you asked him the first question about international supporters, he said the international community, they are not supporting the peace. That is wrong there.
That IGAD question, actually. That IGAD question, people are confused. So I still have that question here. That was
I'm talking about
listen, Charles. We want to put thing on record. We want to be clear when we are speaking live to the people here. The question is said, is IGAD and Khartoum in particular ignoring the social tension among South Sudanese people? But actually, I asked him also, the last question here, as a political leader, what do you believe can be done to bring about change in South Sudan, whether at this current state of affairs or beyond revitalization peace agreement 2018? You understand?
It's not yours. The question, I'm not saying it's you, Jongkor.
No, I'm just trying to clarify,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. the way he answered it when he say international community is not supporting that peace, that word is not there, Jongkor. There's no word international say we are not supporting. The international support, that's what they say. They say we are observing that peace, but we are not subsidizing the peace. Okay? So they never say we are not supporting that peace. So that word alone, I think it's negative on his side.
Yeah,
so because
Charles, I'm sorry to disrupt
yeah.
you, brother. So people need to understand, you know, the different terms, you know, when you are asking a question. When you say as a political leader, what do you believe can be done? What is the difference between that and vision? What is the difference between that and vision? Because I see some
that's
people,
what I'm saying.
They're saying that you didn't ask about the vision. Right?
Brother, that's what I say. He never said his vision on your social media.
Yeah.
He never said.
Yeah, but some people they said I did not ask about the vision. This question actually falls in the same category.
It's not about you. I'm saying he's supposed to sell his vision, but he never talked anything about his vision.
Go ahead.
It's not about you.
Go ahead, Charles.
It's about him. So he never mentioned any vision here. What he was mentioning, he just say how to avoid the peace. That's what he was talking about, and how to fight the war. But he never defined the war. He said, "Let us fight the war," but he don't define the war. How are you going to fight the war? This is the question here. You know, so he's contradicting himself. So it's not about that. He never mentioned the vision. Second, he talked about the federalism. We need a federalism, but what type of federalism? We're looking to it. But he opened a window there. He said, yes, if they don't want that, we can accept whatever is coming out. You see that? So he contradicts himself between the federalism and then another option. That's what he talked about accountability. In chapter 2 in the peace agreement at Jongkor, and you have it there. That agreement, you have it. Look at the chapter 2. The whole chapter 2 is talking about the peace agreement, about accountability. And there's a committee for that. So he avoided. He said there's no accountability. He talked about the root cause, but what the root cause he talked about, he never defined it. This is the concerning here. When you say something, you have to define it. He came up with the root cause, but what type of the root cause he's talking about? Because there are so many root causes here. Is he talking the root cause of the SPLM, or he talking the root cause of his own movement? You know, so he never brought that one up. That's okay. Accountability. Also, when he come about the national army, he said that there's no national army there in the government. It's all militia. He just break away 1 year ago from 2 years ago from the government. So when you say whatever there is a militia, but he was commanding those militia, you see, there's a contradiction here, because the rank he have now, when he does rank, he got it from those militias he talk about. So he contradicts himself on that one. Also, the question of you asked him about the new alliance, the one they just formed last week. You know, you asked him how they're going to form. Then you asked about those of Malung. Look what he answered. He said, yes, Malung can join. He's the enemy. He said, of course, he's the enemy of Salva Kiir. That's not a good way to say that in politics. You cannot say he's the enemy. You say he's another opposition. He should join the other part of opposition. But you cannot say he's the enemy. Malung is not the enemy to Kiir, but Malung have a different ideology to word Kiir. The same him. He have a different ideology. And those words are recorded. We can rewind the tape, and then you can hear it from there. I'll be recording that. Okay, this is the thing. The last one. When the last one, I thought he's going to talk about the flag. He never talked about it because he has a flag. That's why I said the man, he should explain himself more, because that flag, we need to hear from him. The flag, because the flag he has, what that flag is standing for, you know. But he presents himself as a national figure. Yes, that's good there. His presentation is very good because he represents himself as a national figure. But here, his agenda here is something need to be figured out. And that, how to know it, let us wait to the March, to the May. That's where we can see how NAS is going to be, how NAS is going to look like.
Thank you.
And this is what I can say from now.
Thank you so much, Brother Charles, for coming on and airing your perspective as well. As I said, we agree to disagree. Thank you, and please your opinion here. So, Mario, I did not see your request. It looked like you need to send in another request, please, so I can bring you on. Send in your request, Mario Okel. Send your request, please. Mr. Mario, your